Hello everyone, welcome to another episode, and today we've got Gilbert again. How's it, my brother?
Good, and you?
Lacquer, still the same day, just a different episode. But
Yeah.
we're doing part two of WhatsApp automations for e-commerce stores. So if you enjoy marketing and business content, I believe that this is the channel for you. Maybe just like and subscribe to be notified about more content like this. In part one, if you haven't watched part one, I highly suggest you go check it out. Gilbert explained, the importance of abandoned cart automations, but specifically WhatsApp. For a long time, we've been preaching email automations and the percentage of cards that you can actually recover. Sorry, that you can actually recover. So this is part two. In part one, if you haven't watched that, go check it out. We just explained how important WhatsApp automations is or are technically when it comes to your e-commerce business, right? A lot of people are going to abandon their carts. A lot of companies and a lot of agencies and ourselves included preach email automations to help you recover those carts. But now you can also do WhatsApp, and that can really make a difference when it comes to increasing your overall conversion rate and your overall ROAS and your overall profitability, because it's just another way to get more people across the line. So in that video or in that episode, we just explained a little bit what WhatsApp automations look like, what tools you can use, and how to go about it to get started. In today's episode, Gil, what do you want to talk about?
Yeah, so I actually want to, following up on that conversation, is just the key metrics, two key metrics that you want to be looking at. And then I'd love to just actually cover the main automations that help drive revenue for businesses. Those are the two main things I want to go through. So maybe I'm just going to go into it and let's kick it.
Okay, lucky man. I think that's great. So let's start with the core metrics. What are we measuring and
Yeah.
why?
Cool. So core metrics we're going to be measuring two main ones. It's just the recovery rate itself and then the conversion rate.
What is defined as the recovery rate?
So the recovery rate essentially is the effectiveness of your automation flows. And
But
that,
what metrics do you combine to get that percentage?
all right, yeah. So it's the recovered carts over the abandoned carts. Recovered carts divided by abandoned carts, times that by 100, you get a percentage.
Okay, amazing.
All right. So if you recall in the last one, we talked about the average recovery rate, a good one, you're looking at anywhere between 15 to 30%. All right. So ideally, you can benchmark yourself against that.
Yeah.
All right. So that would be the recovery rate aspect of it, but then you get the conversion rate aspect of it. Now, the conversion rate aspect of it comes down to the number of recovered carts over the number of messages that were sent.
Ah,
And then multiply that by 100, you get a percentage. And that in and of itself is got to be anywhere, I mean, a good conversion rate, you're looking at 5, 10%.
really?
It can, yes, it can be.
What do we see normally?
Again, we can see, I mean, we actually see different industries. So I'll average it around, if I look at all the industries we're playing in at the moment with the abandoned carts, I would say we're averaging around 2.5, maybe 3%.
Nice.
But some industries are much higher. So I've seen jewelry might be around 4 point something percent in terms of the conversion rate. So it is possible to do minimum 5, 6. It all just comes down to timing, your copy, your offers, because it's more just the efficiency of your messaging strategy that you've got in place. That's what the conversion rate is actually telling you. So the recovery rate is telling you how effective the automation flows are and what you've got set up and how it's going out and you structured it. But then when it comes to the actual conversion rate, that's got more to do with the timing, the copy, the offers, and that sort of thing. So those are the two differentiators. And those are the two things that you really just want to focus on to see, how well you're doing.
Cool. I mean, the best way for me to learn is just to reiterate back what I've heard. So what I've heard is recovery rate and conversion rate, the two most important metrics. Number one. Number two is a recovery rate is defined as the amount of abandoned carts that you've had versus the amount of, it's not so much the carts, I'm assuming, as the amount of people, right? Cart is technically people,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
So is it safe to assume that if it's the amount of people that abandoned a cart versus the amount of people that eventually then bought from you?
Yes.
In theory, it's a simple way. without overcomplicating that, I'm assuming one person can have multiple abandoned carts and can then obviously convert on those carts too, but just in a simple way, right?
Yes.
So it's basically the amount of abandoned carts versus the amount of people or amount of carts that you've recovered. So that should be, you're saying at least 10%. You said like as a benchmark
Recovery, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 15 to 30. Remember, recovery rate, you can do 15 to
Okay,
30.
cool.
Yeah, good.
Then you've got conversion rate, which
Yeah.
is the total messages sent versus, because you can send multiple messages in one flow with the objective to recover the cart. Okay, so I just want to make sure people understand that. So if you abandon a cart, you can obviously, as you know, maybe as a business owner or a marketer, that you can send multiple messages in a specific sequence with the intention to get that person to buy from you, right? So in theory, this is the conversion rate is then the total messages sent versus the total people who converted or carts that got converted, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and that should be, you saying,
It can be 5 to 10%. Actually,
Okay.
it can. If it's really good. But
what should you be aiming for if you're starting out?
now saying if you can actually aim, to be honest, for at least a 2.5, maybe 3%, you're doing all right. You're doing good. You're doing good enough. 5 to 10%. Look, those are all on the higher ends. It's not impossible. It's definitely possible. I've seen one or two. But then it just requires that, you're really honing in on the messaging, the timing, the offers. You really need to analyze your data to kind of get it up higher and higher. It's again, A/B testing, implementation, trying to see what works, and what messaging is a bit better than, other messaging and that sort of stuff.
Cool. So we've got the metrics that you should be paying attention to. We've got the benchmarks. What do we discuss next? Is like what type of messages I'm assuming we can send? Like
so in terms of the actual automations, so you actually can send you can actually do quite a few automations with the WhatsApp, and I would break down the top 5 as, so you've got the abandoned cart, right? Then
which is the most common one.
Yeah, the one,
and most people should have
standard. That should be standard set up as part of your omni-channel, if you will, marketing that you're doing, so that you catching consumers at every single touch point. Then you've got post-purchase. So a post-purchase upsell, so that gets delivered after a purchase. If you wanted to sell them on something else, so let's say you came up with an offer, I don't know, maybe like if you have a VIP list, and you wanted to have an automation that gets sent to certain, you can segment. Sorry, I also never mentioned that you can segment people to have these specific automations get sent out, so that the individuals who you might consider as VIP maybe get a VIP discount. Or you can just send a post-purchase message, say something like, love your order, get, I don't know, 15% off your next purchase with code thank you 15 or something like that.
And this triggers when someone has made a purchase?
Yeah, so after someone's made a purchase, then you can come up with an offer, and you can actually have that automate as well with WhatsApp automations.
Okay.
Something can be set up on WhatsApp automation.
So we've got abandoned carts, post-purchase. And post-purchase would mainly be for what? Just different offers on different products?
Yeah, different offers, mainly to generate more sales at the end of the day.
Yeah, but as a business, how do you position that message? Like,
yeah, so this is the thing, is like you could position it in a way of look at it like a discount that you might want to give someone who's made a purchase, because it's almost like rewarding them. So
thank you for your purchase. Here's an extra 10% off on your next order.
Call it a reward discount, so to speak.
Yeah.
And you're just adding another incentive for me to buy again. So you could position it just as a simple reward discount, or I don't know, you might call it VIP discount, whatever you want to call it. But I think it's the aim is, I want an individual to repurchase from my brand again. I want to come up with an offer, and I wanted to trigger 4 days after they purchase or 6 days after they purchase, and give them an incentive to buy again.
Nice.
So that's something that's an automation that can exist as well.
So, okay, we've got that. We've got abandoned carts, post-purchase. What else can we do?
You can also do a review request. So maybe, after a 3-day delay, again, this also depends on when the consumer might get that product. So again, a standard, I don't want to set a standard. I think you need to also know on general, like the moment you get that order, once it's purchased and placed, how long does it take for the individual to get that order, and then
how long it takes to get the value out of it.
exactly. So the time frame obviously will differ. There isn't a
Yeah, I
specific
want to
time frame.
give people a bit more context to what we're actually talking about, because a lot of people make the mistake of asking. Look, every store needs more reviews, right? Like, you can never have too many reviews, and the more you have, just the better for your brand. In fact, your reviews, the more you have, the lower your cost per acquisition probably will be, because people will seem to trust you and understand that your product is legit. So it removes a lot of trust and credibility barriers the moment you've got high reviews. Now, the goal for any business should be to get as many as possible.
100%.
Now, with that said, what you're saying is you can use WhatsApp in order to generate more reviews, so that you can get higher trust and credibility, so you can lower your cost per acquisition and build stronger brand, etc. But what we're talking about now specifically is that people make mistakes when it comes to asking reviews. And the mistake that they make is that they ask for the review way too early. Timing your review is so crucial, because you might ask for the review and they might not have even received the product yet. Second thing is, you might ask for the review, but they haven't experienced the product yet. Or they might not even have gotten the true full value potential out of the actual product yet.
Yes.
So firstly, they need to receive it. Secondly, they need to experience something about it. And then, like, if it's a weight loss product, for example, you're not going to just review it on day one, because you wouldn't have lost 5 or 4 kilograms or even anything on day one. So it's understanding that you will then have to time the review in accordance to what the product is and how it actually works to that individual.
Yeah, I mean, just speaking in general, I think the moment a customer actually receives that order, then whatever system you're using, and once you've updated, say, fulfilled, the item has been fulfilled and delivered, give that another 3, maybe 4 days, and then ask for the review, because at least you know they've received it. Because I think some people also, once the order is placed and it's shipped out, then their automation or whatever tool they're using, even if it's manual, like, hey, leave us a review, without actually timing it right, like you're saying. So it's important that they have the product first, then give them 3-4 days on average. That's what I've seen actually work really well. But it's just a matter of being on top of your fulfilled orders and actual delivery that got made, and you know that your customers have the product and can experience it first.
Okay, so abandoned carts we can do, post-purchase we can do, review requests.
Yeah, review requests. You can also do back in stocks.
Okay,
so you can actually,
and that automatically fires.
Yeah, so you can actually set up the flow. You can actually have a flow that is set up so that you have a back in stock message. So it'll say something like, your green juice is back, only 5 left, and then you can actually just have a link. So you can actually set up a back in stock alert if it's obviously set up correctly and everything like that. Nice. Which just, again, helps with sales, because you're alerting the customer that this product is in stock. And then
do we do welcome sequences? Because I know, so here's my question. An email welcome sequences generate quite a bit of money, and I think a lot of brands underestimate how powerful welcome sequences can be. And a welcome sequence would be anybody that's engaged with your brand left an email, obviously, in the form of a competition, giveaway, newsletter subscription, downloaded an ebook, guide, whatever it may be, when it comes to the business that you own.
Yeah.
Do we do that?
We haven't ourselves done that, and it's something that I was actually having a conversation with the guys at Botsonic about, in terms of having a welcome series, because I know it works very well when it comes to email. And I mean, at the end of the day, you're essentially educating your consumer, getting them to buy into the brand, your values, what you stand for, and trying to break down any barriers that maybe they might have within that welcome series, right? So it is something that I think they might probably be looking into, to see how, again, back to Facebook's rules, and because those automations,
they're all going to add up.
Yes, so it's important just to kind of contextualize it to the channel that you're working on, and understand that there are these specific limitations because of Meta's rules. It isn't free for all, free flowing, kind of like the thinking is right, but then the actual technical and implementation is different. So I don't see why it can't happen. I think it's just a matter of how it happens. I wouldn't be surprised next time we chat. I'll be probably telling you.
Yeah, I'm also wondering if it will really work the way that we think it might, purely because most people don't want to be bothered on WhatsApp. You know, email works because I'll look at it when I feel like it. Where WhatsApp is like, it's so intrusive. Is that even the right word? Like,
yes, it is.
it's like it's like so in my face.
Because it's still personal channel that I'm on now.
So I'm wondering like if it won't annoy people in a point maybe where they feel a little bit discouraged to buy from you because it's almost like a bit too much.
Yeah.
But I mean, one message also would be good enough to say, hey, if you wanted to learn more about what we do, who we are, this is kind of like what makes us unique, or have a.
I think you would probably only get away with one message, in my opinion.
Yeah, because it's like email, again, people look at it and they choose what emails to open based on where they find themselves in the day and in the week, right? It's like Mondays, everybody pays attention to emails. They scan what's most important. They reply to it. Maybe on a Monday evening, it's more like, okay, cool, let me see what else is there. You know, I've done what I needed to do. I replied to what I needed to do. Or Tuesday is like, I've replied what I needed to do. So let me just see what else is there that I've missed. Oh, here's a newsletter from a company that's got a special. Let me have a look. So it's almost like in your own time, you pay attention to the messages. Where WhatsApp, it's like notification on my phone. It's now sitting there unread. Not that it's an issue, but it's like, this is in my personal space. This is where I chat to my dad. You know what I'm saying? This is where I chat to my mom. This is where I chat to my wife and my brother and sister. Where email is like, yes, that too, but a very small percentage, you know, of communication around family and really the personal people in your life happens that way.
No, true.
Quite an interesting thought, though.
And also, yeah, I mean, if you also think about it, it's like email, you also kind of like expect that it could be a very long email, right? Versus a WhatsApp. A WhatsApp is a few sentences, couple of lines, whatever the case may be. So you're not expecting to also be sitting there going through paragraphs upon paragraphs, which a brand is probably trying to do to try and fit everything in, so that this welcome series, we articulate, you know, the achievements we've had and then the people we help and, you know, why they should buy from us because our brand is amazing. And yes, you mean those are the things that you're trying to put into these welcome series, and it's a bit longer. So again, it's like, I don't know if people are going to be wanting to sit there and read through, you know, paragraphs upon paragraph, which... it might not... It probably won't be as effective unless you can get away with literally a short snippet and there's your welcome message. And
I mean, I look at a company that uses WhatsApp automations very effectively. I haven't seen a company use it as effectively as this. And guess what that company is?
McDonald's.
No.
I'm sorry.
But... not a bad guess. Safair.
Oh, yeah?
So let me tell you why. Like, the nicest thing about Safair is that when the day before I fly, I get a WhatsApp message saying, hey, check in. I was like, oh, shit. Now, where do I check? Oh, just click here if you want to check in. Click. Press 1 if you packed your bag yourself. Press 1 now if you don't have any the X, Y, and Z in your bag.
Yeah.
Press 1. Do you accept terms and conditions? Yes. Boom, done. You checked in. Oh, another notification. You've got your boarding pass. Boom, there you go. Now you just show that. Now, the next morning you get an automation saying something like, hey, airports are a little bit busier than normal. Maybe arrive a little bit earlier. You are at this gate at this time. That's your boarding time. Yeah, like, what I like about that, it's on very purposeful communication that's adding value to the person that is engaging with that business. Like, I'm engaging with Safair because I'm about to travel to Cape Town, wherever. I now need you to communicate with me in order to make my life easier. So I almost feel like WhatsApp is a very personal space, and I will allow it if it adds value to my life. I will allow it if it's actually constructive and making a difference, and it's an ease of convenience of some sort. So, and if it's transactional, right? Because that's value. So if you say, hey, 50% off, or, you know, we've done with one of our brands a R5 sale. Yeah. That's a WhatsApp message that goes out because it's not just any sale. It's a freaking R5 sale. It's not something you're going to miss. So it's like, hey, let me just pay attention and actually try and give it a shot. So I'm wondering, you know, reflecting on Safair and how they use, I mean, that's probably quite a cool case study, actually, if you think about it, like Safair, how they use WhatsApp automations and how I at least feel how convenient it is. There might be people who don't have the same experience. But I feel... if you're going to mimic an experience, it should be constructive, it should be adding value, and it shouldn't obviously leave a bitter taste in your mouth where you're like, listen, please, enough.
Yeah. It's very functional. No, I think what you're experiencing is it's valuable because it's functional. It's literally booking flight status, or maybe traffic status in terms of the airport, people, delays, whatever the case may be. It's very functional. You're responding to it. You're getting a specific function out when you input a function in, and it's valuable because you're traveling. This is information that's key for your travel. Makes perfect sense, and that whole communication process makes you actually enjoy your WhatsApp from a brand or business.
Yeah, because all I go is I either add it to my Apple Wallet, or or you just click on the WhatsApp and click on that button, and it pops up a screenshot, and you just show it to the guy, or you scan it, and then you're in. So
so how to be as functional?
I think that's it. Like, how can you be as functional and practical about your messages in a way where the consumer on the other side, like order delivery statuses, your order is on the way. Please be home during this time, because I mean, stuff like that, it can probably get a bit more technical, but I feel that's stuff that people would enjoy. It's like, we are going to call you around 1 to 2 to confirm, that you will be at the house, or at this time, but we're going to do the order, make sure someone's at the house. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, for today's video and for today's episode, I think the bottom line was just to unpack the different metrics that someone can measure to ensure that their automations is actually successful and hitting the mark. We've said, there's recovery rates that you need to measure, there's conversion rates you need to measure, and then at the same time, there is different types of things that you can send. So I just want to make sure that we cover everything, or is there
just
different?
one more actually.
Oh, is it?
This one I think is an important one, because you can actually do payment reminders. So if your order is sitting in pending, you can actually have a reminder to say, hey, order's pending, click here and complete your order. So you can also still have that. And
this is for EFT options, right?
Yeah, EFT options.
Amazing, because a lot of people don't follow up with EFT options.
True. Or some do it manually, but again, that's not scalable if you run a business doing 1,000 orders a day or whatever the case may be. So it is actually possible to also do payment reminders within WhatsApp automations, which I think
that's actually quite functional, because it could be like, hey, we are going to give this product now to someone else if you don't pay, and if you want to pay, here is the price, and here's click this link. And then another one saying, cool, we're going to give it away in literally 12 hours. If you act now, there's 10% off. If not, we'll give it to someone else.
And that's it. And then I think with that, you basically have, like, I'd say your top 6. I think we went through 6. And those are the ones that I would suggest, looking into when it comes to WhatsApp.
Nice. And the best way to do it is to go to the Shopify App Store, look at Botsonic.
Yeah.
Install, plug and play, and then... hopefully you get so much value out of it as we have.
Sweetos, thank you for having me, man.
Yeah, awesome.
It was good.
I think if you enjoy marketing and business content, I believe this is the channel for you. If you have any questions, drop it in the comments. And then I want to say like and subscribe if you want to be notified about more content like this. In the meantime, much love. Have a good one.
Cheers.
Bye.